On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
How much money did ActBlue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Busted. Hey, there's a time and place to invoke the Fifth Amendment. I love our Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. It's very seldom dropped in a congressional hearing. The problem with that lady who runs ActBlue, which is a great big Democrat radical fundraising operation, they do give money to radicals. They do give money, well, let's face it, the Democrat Party in general is radical. In general, they are radical. They're supporting a Nazi. They believe in no borders. They want to sexualize children. This is crazy, crazy stuff. The Democrat Party is a socialist, demented, wrong party about everything. They are radical. They are dangerous. Now, it's legal to be radical and weird. You know, you're allowed to do it, and you're allowed to raise money. But it looks like a lot of that money was coming from countries far away, countries that want to do harm to this country. And how do you harm it? Well, you could do it the old-fashioned way, but that's very hard, right? An army, a navy coming at us, America. Good luck with that. Not going to work. Then you could resort to terrorism, suicide bombers. That's lethal, but we're pretty good at stopping that as well. What are your other options? From within. Maybe you could turn the people who live there against the very country itself, right? That's where this money comes in. That's where ActBlue comes in. And there's not really any worthy country in the world where the people who live there are so opposed to their government as what we have going right here in America. And that's really something to think about. The way Joe Biden would tell horrible ghost stories about this country, how bad we were, how much we had to atone for, the original sin of slavery and all that stuff. You know, General Xi doesn't do that in China. Putin didn't do that, doesn't do that. And the guy who came before him doesn't do that. Whether you're a bad country or a good country, generally speaking, the leaders of countries try to put the best foot forward. We've all made mistakes. No country's perfect. Is what's her name there from line one? Michelle, is she still there? Hello, hi. What were you were disagreeing about something. It's okay if you weren't. Oh, shoot, we lost Michelle. Look, Michelle, I know where you're coming from. I do believe that we need a little bit of shame and a little bit of stigma back in American life. All right? I do. I'm sorry. And PTSD has become a virtue. Having it is a beautiful thing. Oh, my goodness gracious. Step right up. Let us give you counseling, benefits, drugs. Let's put you on this. Let's put you on that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's give you a dog. Let's give you a cat. Let's give you video games. Let's give you a vacation. What are we going to do on that vacation? Let's throw back some beers. How about some more beers? It's a vicious, nasty little cycle. It's turned into a great big scam. A great big scam. Why is there this aggressive push to destigmatize mental illness, by the way? I mean, like, I don't care if you stigmatize it or don't stigmatize it. What's happened is you've glorified it. You've glorified it. Do we glorify lung cancer? Somebody who comes in and has lung cancer, right? No, did you smoke? Yeah. Well, dummy. right? We don't, right? There's still some stigma, right? I mean, a little bit. If you smoked, I mean, we don't want you to die, but yeah. I mean, people choose. They make choices. And I'll remind everybody that Graham Plattner chose to join the military. And I had to look it up. Somebody told me he went right to Iraq after high school. I said, number one, that's impossible. No, the next month he was in Iraq. Well, first you got to go through something called basic training. And when did he graduate high school? Okay, June 2003. There ain't no way that guy, just looking at him, went right to boot camp. You know how the Army gets you, how the recruiters get you. They give you all kinds of options. Oh, you don't have to go to boot camp until in 2 years. Take the summer off. Do this, do that. Here's more money. They kind of bribe you a little bit, and they lull you into... And then he comes back sounding like this, and we're supposed to listen? And the problem is a lot of people do listen. People who should know better. In my opinion. Where is she again? Why are we listening to this guy? Cut 12.
Because of my military service, and I did 4 tours in the infantry. I fought in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I saw up close the human cost of war. War to me is not something to be viewed as a game. It's not something to be viewed as a power play. It's something to be viewed as the single last resort for anything. Because I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like. And I know the struggles that come afterwards.
So we're going to shut up and listen to guys like this. Nope. This is the game that John Kerry played. Pete Buttigieg, Seth Moulton. This is his ticket to political stardom. He's a bum. President Trump is not wrong. When I heard him tell his life story. It ain't much of one. I do remember admiring the idea of a U.S. senator, right? That's something special. That's a big deal. You gotta work hard to get there. And then what do? Well, I guess I shouldn't have been too dazzled by those resumes because they sold us out. NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, it comes up every now and then. And President Trump is kind of obsessed with it because it totally screwed over the American working man. And we're still living with the consequences. This is President Trump this week in the Oval Office on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, or as I call it, the no advantage for true American something or other. Wait, NAFTA. No advantage for American workers. Nope, that doesn't work either. I'll have it by the time we get back, though. Cut 15.
Are you all in supporting Susan Collins? Does she have your full support and endorsement in her Senate
She does
re-election?
because she's a sane woman. She's not my best friend at all. These guys are. I get along well, but I have some. But she's a sane person. And she's a person that never missed a vote in many years. I mean, she's had 10,000 votes. She had 10,000 votes. She never missed a vote. Unfortunately, because sometimes she voted against me. Look, she's a sane woman, and she's a respected person.
And that's all we're looking for these days, really. So many insane people. Hey, you're sane, you're not crazy, you don't hate America, you're in. All right, here he is on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as the No Advantage for True American Treaty, cut 17.
NAFTA was a disaster for our country. The worst trade deal ever made, by far. They had typos in, okay? And they were supposed to correct them. And they never corrected them when they were signed. They knew there were typos.
Yeah, there are typos in there. And I had to look back, 1993. You know who was for NAFTA? Everybody. And by everybody, I mean the swamp, all the stylish people. Democrats, Republicans. It was bizarre. I forgot about this thing. And the guy who hated it was Ross Perot, the progenitor, in a way, if you will, of politics for President Trump. Right? They're very, very much on the same page here. Here's Al Gore at the signing ceremony for NAFTA in 1993. Cut 18.
And may I single out the debt our nation owes to President Bush, President Carter, President Reagan, President Ford, and President Nixon for their unprecedented support of the NAFTA treaty. It marked a real turning point.
A real turning point. All the factories left. What did the American men do? So many of them. Nixon, Carter, Ford, Reagan, Bush. And there's Al Gore and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton signed the damn thing. That is the swamp. That is the establishment. They gutted America. I think they should investigate that all over again. How do they get that kind of bipartisan support? That's a little bit over the top. I want to go back to my friend, Douglas Murray, because this madness of crowds, like what we saw last night, you got to be careful of the crowds, whether they're in the street or whether they're online, because 9 times out of 10, the mob is wrong. All right? The mob is wrong. And quite frankly, this Epstein crap, they're wrong about that too. You haven't been told the real story. And I know we all want to believe that we can help save kids. Nothing more intoxicating than being a hero. But what if there were no kids to rescue? Here is survivor number 16. She is a person who goes around making money, I believe, off of her story about surviving Jeffrey Epstein. And she's compelling when she speaks. Cut 21, please. Lisa Phillips is her name.
I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice.
Wow.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, doesn't it? That sounds amazing. There's a bit of a problem, though. She met Jeffrey Epstein when she was 21 years old. 21. That's not a child. I'm sorry. And these women who have come forward were adults when they were with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that, you know what that undermines? The narrative. That narrative, that stupid word, narrative. Oh, let me tell you a story, a narrative. Fancy word for story. And a story has to have a good guy, a bad guy, a struggle, a climax, all these things that you need for a story. But sometimes just a bunch of weird stuff happens and nobody can make sense of it. Or you can try, but you could be wrong. And I'm telling you, when it comes to this Epstein stuff, everybody is freaking wrong about it. Trump is the one who has it figured out. Cut 19.
And you'll have Schumer. He goes crazy over this or that, or Epstein. This guy. Why are they talking about him? He said, well, we don't know.
We don't know. But they're hooked because, you know what? It's a crowd pleaser online. And that means it's a way to make money, fundraise off it. You can fundraise off it. And there's a little lie that's told about President Trump and all of this, that he campaigned off of the Epstein, right? He ran on Epstein. He ran on Epstein. He didn't. I've watched every single rally from when he came down the escalator to the one he had in Wisconsin last week. I've seen every single one. He has never brought up Epstein, ever. What happened during the campaign was occasionally he would be asked in an interview, would you release the Epstein files? Yeah, if they said it was appropriate, I would do that. I have no problem with that. But he does have a problem with names being released and people rushing to judgment. You know, my name is in the Epstein file. It is. I'm actually bragging in a weird way. I'm in the Epstein file. I am in the Epstein file. Here, all right, now everybody's giving me a dirty look and weird. Like, what the hell is going on with you? Every email ever sent, right? Everybody is in that Epstein file. So one night, his publicist, because she's always arranging social things and, hey, you should go to this party, you should go to that party. His publicist, a woman by the name of Peggy Siegel, said, "Hi, Jeffrey. There's a movie screening tonight about a war correspondent played by Rose McGowan. It's a very good movie, and I think you would like it. It stars, who was the other star in that dumb thing? I didn't really like that movie. The movie who played Ben Affleck's wife in Gone Girl, whatever her name was. She was the main character in the movie, not Rose McGowan. And she said, Greg Kelly is from Channel 5 is going to MC the event. And he wrote back, I can't go. So I am in the Epstein file. I'm also in the Epstein file because the FBI, rather suspiciously, makes up a huge news summary every single day. They produce a 400-page news summary. Every single article, essentially, that has anything to do with politics or anything to do with what the FBI, they shouldn't be interested in this stuff, is in there. And I interviewed Rick Grinnell. And there was a summary of my interview with Rick Grinnell, who at the time I think was the director of national intelligence. Why would that be in the damn thing? I don't know. It's the FBI. It's almost like it's a surveillance state kind of a situation. Trump administration privately telling allies it still plans payouts to loyalists. I love it. The Atlantic magazine is apparently has this tip here that the weaponization fund is not going away. Isn't that a great thing? You know, I've been pushing it for it from day one. 800-848-9222. Your calls when we come back.